Hello, welcome to Supreme Commander Forge Alliance Forever. This is a Seton's game, as you may have guessed by the map. And it has some very good players. So let's see. We have in the bottom team, we have Nipa on rock, Seraphim first air, we have Foley in mid, UEF, Alec UEF on beach. Looks like he's going to try and steal his opponent's island by the build here, and Philip J. Fry UEF on air. The top team, we have Patchy, Cybern Beach, it's Torrent. We have Foo, it's Petrick, Seraphim Air. Feather, Cybern Rock, first and second air, and Farms in mid with Cybern, and he's making, first two things he's making, is two land factories. So this is a build, we saw some chat about it. How does double land fac work? Well, let's find out. You make it, then Petrick quits. Yeah, Petrick is not a fan of this build, but maybe Farms can make it work. So, let's see. Only engineers have this and this factory. So this is very strange. You would almost, you just don't build two factories one after the other at the start. You can see you didn't build any mexes until now, and you didn't build any P-gens. So how can this possibly work? Well, he gets mass and energy from the trees. You can see attack move engineer here, gonna in a good spot to get a lot of tree groups. Getting tree groups here behind this factory. He's gonna get more over here. So the problem with it is it's gonna be late to mid. And he's versus Foley. So you can see Foley already a long way along. He made a factory and walked, or maybe made a factory and a mass extractor and then walked. That's quite common as well. Farms is looking for him with the scouts, and he's probably going to try and run past and break the trees with scouts. So when trees are run over, the groups split up into individual trees, and it takes a lot longer to reclaim them. Torin talking about P-Gen snipe or even sniping the air player. I mean, you're not going to snipe the air player. That's a bit much. He's very far away. But P-Gen sniping with T2 bombers is not a bad strategy. It's not super effective though, to be honest. T2 bombers are quite expensive. Farms reaches mid. You can see Foley is already reclaiming. And I'm going to turn down the music slightly so I can't hear myself. Farms still has no tanks, so he has a lot of build power. He's going to have a lot more build power than Foley. A lot more engineers. Foley finishing up his hydro. Already has 1500 reclaim. Farms now going for the Destro. So when you're in mid, you want to grab as much reclaim as possible, and Farms has sent an engineer to mid, which is very good. People don't really send engineers to mid that often. I mean, early engineers, which is a bit strange because you can actually get a lot of reclaim. And when you're reclaiming in mid with your ACU, the main thing is to, well, every time you walk, you're not reclaiming, so want to reclaim the most as possible, and you do that by moving as little as possible and reclaiming all the time. Farms has what, 3 factories done now? Almost got his 4th done. And he's top scorer right now. 1 mech's just about to complete. And if we look at the reclaim, he has more reclaim than Foley now, which is kind of amazing. I think Foley took a few shots, but I think it's this engineer getting quite a bit extra reclaim. It's still surprising that Foley actually has less reclaim than Farms. Now Foley with an engineer in the area. He'll be looking to reclaim, and I kind of missed it. I should have been watching perhaps Aleg, because I'm pretty sure he was trying to take the island. He didn't, but he did get a drop and stole 2 mexes. And the transport does go down. He stole 3 mexes, and here's the 4th mex, which is going to be captured by this engineer. And that's really bad for Feather. Now Feather did get his island, fortunately for him, but that's really bad to lose so many mexes. And Alec not only denied the mexes, but took them for himself, and it's going to take a little while for Feather to get them back. He's spamming land factories. Not a good reaction. Just use the commander. You have a commander. Yeah, if somebody is dropping here, sometimes they'll want to make a base or something. If you don't have a bomber, maybe you don't have air, then you should just be walking the commander after that. So Feather in a bad way. We have a drop coming from Nipa. There's only 4 arties. That's a bit of a mistake. Could have 8 on there. 4 is a lot less powerful than 8. Farms with epic score. Look at the reclaim. 8.3k reclaim. He's forcing Foley away. That's quite a lot of tanks, and there's still T3 wreck here, T2 wreck here, and he's grabbing these ones. So huge amounts of reclaim for Farms. And he's going T2 air. Now will Foley and Foley's team spot this T2 air? If we look over here, how is Torin doing? Well, he has a pretty bad score. I think Torin may need to work on his beach build. Now where did that drop go? Here it is. Oh, he's going for Petric's mexes. Torin talking about Corsairs and Torps. And Foley is pushed into the water by all of these Mantis and the ACU. Still, there's an ASF wreck to be grabbed. And this is cleaned up now. Oh, there's still an engineer. And look at all these Mantis that Feather has made, and all there were was just a few engineers to kill. It's a big waste. He needs to stop and reclaim these factories and stop building Mantis. The arties tick out 1 factory. The transport goes down to Torin's Inties. Now you have to be careful. If you walk too close to the mechs, you won't be able to shoot it. There is a minimum range. Torin just bombed 2 of his own Inties out of the sky. And will this mech die? It's not gonna die. 20 HP. And the engineers reclaim the arties in time. The T2 mechs is saved. In mid we have the gun, 60% for Foley, and Farms coming in very late to try and cancel this. Can Foley get this finished? I think he can. Probably has a lot of his base paused now. And that's going to finish. Farms is not going to have an upgrade. But he is going to have T2 air, and also he can make PDs with these engineers which he's sending forward. And actually Foley now going T2. That's interesting that he goes T2, or he goes gun before T2. Guess he has so many engineers around that he doesn't actually need to go T2 first to to be able to get the gun fast. So he makes the gun quickly, and that's more useful. You can defend your ACU much better as it's upgrading if you have the gun instead of T2. You have that nice range and damage. So farms can't really come in and try and deny the next upgrade. And now he has T2, so he got some more regen and he got some HP back. Because he was quite low on HP. Farms just has to run from this. But the Corsairs are coming. Petrick just gave the bombers to farms as the inties are trying to kill them. So you lose targeting on units when they change armies. Oh, we have a T2 drop from Aleg. 13 units on board. And they're heading to Feather's Island. Feather's economy is absolute AIDS. There's just T1 mexes everywhere. Just not reclaiming these factories. T1 mechs on the island completely. He is making quite a few frigates, and Alec has no navy whatsoever. But here come the Corsairs. How is a Cybern supposed to defend versus a UEF com like this? T2 PDs are not enough. We need Corsairs, and here they come. For Foley's ACU, what does he see? He knows there's T2 here. T2 air. Does he have T2 land? He doesn't, so we have no flak and no shields. And he just has to dodge these Corsairs and get empties from his team. Farms holding off all the land easily with the PDs, and the commander is losing a lot of HP to these Corsairs. Foley almost on his first vet. He needs to take out a few more tanks. I don't know if he's gonna manage it. Oh, he's very close to his vet. Kill the scout. 10 mass away from a vet level. Farms retreating his units now. Foley needs this HP very, very badly, but there's nothing to kill. Over here, oh, we have a T2 drop. Actually was not going for Feather's Island. It went for Petrick's base and he defended it. Almost no damage. We lost some engineers, but the ACU got the kills. Foley on 200 HP. Farms XDing because he's on such a low HP. And he's still alive. Another Corsair comes in, dodged expertly. Maybe one missile hit. But now there's a Torp. And Foley's in the water. You can't dodge Torps. And he's dead. Oh, there he goes. I think we even lost some ASF there to the ACU explosion. 2, I think. Maybe more. And that's painful. Because Phil really invested in the early air to try and stop that from happening, but was unsuccessful. Look at all this AA, and still, I mean, if Foley got that vet level, he would survive. 10 mass away from vetting. But now he's dead. Farms has mid, and Foley's mid base is given to Aleg. Aleg has 0 navy, and there's a whole bunch of frigates coming from Feather now. And suddenly we have a lull. Just chill out moment, a suck up the reclaim moment. Where is Aleg? Does he have proxy? He is wandering because there is no navy whatsoever from Aleg. So you'd see he's gonna build a triad to fend off any frigates that want to get close, and then he's going to spam a lot of torp defense, and then only then try and get his factories up. Now there's no T2 from Feather. Oh, here he's going T2. I always dislike making the HQ next to the island because, I mean, if there's a T3 drop on the island, then you lose all the mexes and you also lose the HQ. So, I always preferred having the HQ elsewhere. This mex can be killed by, wow, that's a bad place for Pigeon. When you don't have navy at all, this can be killed, and so can this by frigates. I guess the PD was defending somewhat. Corsairs moving in, and they might be aiming for these mexes. Corsairs don't do super well versus mexes. They do okay, but they can often miss, especially after they turn. I think did he target the mass storage by accident, perhaps? Because that mex has survived. Here comes another barrage, and down goes the mex, and another storage. But Phil's ASF are gonna kill this very quickly, and it's gonna be a bit of a mass donation in the end, I think. See, the Corsairs don't do too well. Nautas are actually much better at sniping mexes. There goes a P-gen as well. So, a lot of Corsairs from farms. Petrick is gonna have to get air control. Oh, we have a T2 drop on the island now. It looks like it's just T1 mexes still, and that's all that gets killed. It did slow down the production on the T2 HQ as well, though, with the dead engineers and the idle engineers there. Fill up with two P-gens, 2 factories working at the moment. Petrick has 2 P-gens, 2 factories, making his third one, and he's also making resource allocation. This is a common time to make resource allocation after the 2 T3 P-gens. Then you start making RAS and use some mass from the reclaiming the T2 P-gens to make a RAS. It's quite common. Most people do it after second P-gen, some people do it after the third. Farms making them T3 mexes in mid, just gonna eco horde, and I think that's a good plan because we're looking at the scores here, and Turin has a very bad score, mostly because I would say he invested so much into those Corsairs. He has almost 0 navy, and also Feather. Well, he lost those mexes at the start, captured by Alec, and then didn't really react that well to that happening. So his eco is very bad, and he made all these frigates, and now Alec is in the navy anyway, so frigates did not do their job. That's why you always need, if you want to rush and win navy ASAP, you have to have that T2 navy coming. Otherwise, T2PD will stop you, T1 torp defense. The commander has enough build power to force frigates away very often, and you can also get some help from your air player sometimes and from your mid player, although Alec has no mid player now. Also, Alec will have a lot of mass because to use that with that ACU, thanks to having the mid base. These juicy Corsair wrecks gonna be sucked up. And again, we have just a chill moment. What is the plan? Well, we have T2 Navy complete. Turin's still almost no navy. He's making T2 factory now. He's probably knows that there's T2 here. Has a couple torps to help him. And now we see Alec has got significant production. Feather can't really do anything, I think, right now. Don't think he can break this. There's torp defense, there's a lot of T1 factories to eat through. He does have T2 Navy, and he's sending those destroyers forward. He's also making T3 on the commander so that he can get T3 P-gens. Corsairs killing some Sparkies. Killing a lot of Sparkies, in fact. 8 kills on this guy. And a second T3 P-gen and T3 Air. Farms is making ASF. Now that's gotta make Phil sad. Feather trying to save his Destro from these frigates and does so successfully. These ominous ASF hovering over. You never want to see the enemy air player hovering over your naval base as you're trying to hold. Torin has T3 commander. He's gonna make T3 mechs, T3 P-gen. And ooh, laser from farms while making all this T3 air. And here comes some torps to help out Feather. Should you help Feather? Difficult question, but he is trying to win this navy side. So this would be the time to help. There goes the destroyer. A very nice kill to get. Feather retreating though. Cyber destroyers, you can dodge so much of their damage. If you micro heavily. Those cannons, they have long range, but you know the velocity of the fire is not that great. But Alec looks in trouble now. There are 5 destroyers. But still, he has so much production, all these factories in the way. He has a destroyer, just one, but better than nothing. I think Feather can... I think he can possibly break this. He needs to be very aggressive. One thing you should do when you're trying to break a position like this is to spam T1 bombers. Get them in at the build power. You can see Alec has T2 engineers here, so that means T2 engineers don't die to... well, that's a Sparky, in fact. T2 engineers don't die in one pass to a T1 bomber. So they're quite nice for defending, and now there's a shield boat out, so that makes it very difficult to break this position once there's shield boats out. On the top side, looks like Nipa sort of thinking about trying to break this, but there's T2 subs, which are a nice choice versus Seraphim, as long as you micro. And we have a couple Destros and a cruiser. And now Farms has dropped engineers. He has a T3 engineer here. He's making harms. His laser is 50%. Looks like he has full T3 mechs now. Except this one, which is on the way. Torps now from Phil, trying to help Alec to hold his beach spot. If they lose this spot, it is very, very bad. We have a lot of mobile shields here, you can see, to defend the mexes, which I think is quite nice, but it will defend from, say, a strap bomber that wants to kill us, or help defend and give time versus well, any kind of bombardment from Navy as well. And T3 Navy is complete, and this is a battle cruiser coming out. And it's finished, and that's very, very bad. This is UEF Beach play right here. Hold, hold, hold until you get your battle cruiser. And now this battle cruiser, as long as it's not stuck, can do massive amounts of damage here and force Feather to retreat, which is very bad for Feather because he has left reclaim. You can see some Destro Rex here. Now the Destro Rex are generally Alegs, but it's still reclaim for him. And Feather's eco is not good. He only has 2 T3 maxes. Compared to Nipat, you can see he has a lot more. And Nipa is making the splash gun, so he looks like he's going for Telly. Farms is going for Telly as well, 10%. And here's an air fight. Let's see the micro. Petrick looks like he has similar numbers, so it will come down to micro. And ASF micro is just one of those things that, well, it's pretty much the most difficult micro because the units are so insanely fast. If you make a wrong turn, you can get absolutely wrecked. And Petrick just slightly better micro there. It's really hard to even analyze a fight like that, but maybe Petrick had a few more as well, and that's a very, very painful loss for Phil. But at least this should be held. Now with the battle cruisers, there's not Feather can't defeat the battle cruisers, but now the top side should get torped by Petrick, and this is exactly when Nipa should not go in. Should know that his air player has just lost air. And he does have pretty good production, very similar to Petrick's production. So he can help out and try and kill some torps and defend a bit, but this push doesn't look like it's going to work. One thing about harms, they can be targeted while they're building because they're above water. Looks like they're taking some damage. But once they sink, you need to ground fire them with some. You need to have torps or ground fire them with some cruiser, as is happening, you can see here. So Torn is building TMD to defend that. You can also ground fire with battleships. And Feather is trying to cross the land bridge. Makes him so insanely vulnerable. Oh, the battle cruisers are running away. If the battle cruisers just let him go on land, the battle cruisers can just come up here and shoot him in the back, and he can't even shoot back. He can't run away, can't micro in any way basically, and he will just die and leave a shit ton of reclaim in mid. But the battle cruisers retreat. All of these Destros could die to those 2 battle cruisers, for sure. But Feather's gonna move into the top ocean and try and help Torn win the top ocean. Now, in doing that, he is basically forfeiting his ocean. So, that's well, it's not a decision you would tend to make. Nipan saw the marker for the teleporter and was ground firing in anticipation, but he doesn't have the same amount of damage as the Mazer come. And he doesn't have the HP difference to make it work, and Farms tellies in and takes him out. And now Farms is going to be telling elsewhere. Back to a safe location. He passes, and he got a lot of vet there as well. Love the control K working. Yeah, well, once you lose your commander, you can no longer give orders. Well, your orders don't register, I should say. You can still try and give them, but they won't work. And now the push from Turin and Feather in the top ocean is coming. That's Carrier. First thing out of the T3 factory. Carrier versus Cruiser. In terms of anti-air, the Cruiser has a lot of damage. Cruiser has a lot of damage, but the Cruiser can be killed by torps. The Carrier doesn't give so much damage in terms of its mass, but it has a lot more HP. So that's how you decide whether you make carriers or cruisers versus air. Well, your carriers are not likely to die, but they also won't kill the air units as fast as if you had that mass in cruisers. This bottom side looks like it is going to be crushed. There's so many subs here, and Alec has approximately 0 Coopers, no torpots at all, but the subs are not going to have the damage to stop these battlecruisers from just running in and killing all of the naval production. This carrier is being assisted. He's making torps out of it. Look at how fast they're building. So much assist. That's actually kind of hilarious. He has 11 torps in there. He's gonna have to unload them. See, the carrier has quite a lot of build power. It's going minus 26 mass while building the torp bomber. If you look at a T3 factory, yeah, it actually would build torps faster than a T3 factory. Another useful thing to know. Look at these subs. All shift G'd into the one spot to try and let their torp defense do a bit better. Cyber torpedoes or submarine killers don't have very good torp defense. They have a lot of damage. Oh, what is that? Alec has control K'd, and that's a GG. Oh, we had the teleport killing many things. Also tried to kill the island, and Alec control K's. He actually control K'd his whole base as well. Not nice. And there we go. GG. Well, that's one way to win a sentence. T2 Corsairs in mid. From the mid player to kill his opponent. Telly before your opponent telly snipes. And then also walk your Destros into the other ocean, forfeiting your ocean, but winning the other one slightly faster. Bizarre sentence game. Also, those failed drops on Petrick defended both of them. If there was more than 4 arties on this drop, we surely would have seen 3 at least dead mexes. And this one, well, we missed it, but I think Petrick got some overcharge in. Nice T3 air from Farms as well. Securing the air win. Well, thanks for watching. Hope you enjoyed. Send me replays if you have them. And I'll see you next time.